Given the current situation in America right now, and by America I mean literally the entire planet, I figured it's as good a time as any to revisit the 1995 medical thriller Outbreak. The film is directed by Wolfgang Petersen, who you could easily confuse with the king of more big-scale disaster movies, Roland Emmerich. Between the two of them, they've directed a handful of 90s action schlock that most of us 80s kids have seen. You've got Emmerich's Stargate, Godzilla, Independence Day. Petersen has provided us with In the Line of Fire, Air Force One, and this little movie right here. Dustin Hoffman and Rene Russo play a recently divorced couple who work for the US Army and CDC respectively. A recent outbreak of a newly discovered virus called Mataba in a village in Zaire brings dire consequences as it makes its way to the small California town of Cedar Creek. The Mataba virus is basically Ebola on steroids, destroying cells and liquefying organs in just a matter of days. We follow every small step the virus takes as it finds its way to America, and the relentless nature in which it punishes everyone who comes into contact with it. This is most certainly an R-rated film, with villagers bleeding from their eye sockets and dead bodies being sliced open for further examination. The relationship between Hoffman's Sam and Russo's Robbie is the film's emotional and moral center. Both are more than capable of doing their jobs well and are eager to do whatever it takes to serve their country. That said, their methods could not be more different, with Robbie being calm and rational, while Sam is hot-headed and eager to pick a fight with basically everyone. Of course, the movie would not be complete without the brainy friend, in this case played by Kevin Spacey, and the young rookie soldier who just wants to prove his worth, in this instance played by Cuba Gooding Jr. The performances here are all surprisingly good, and Petersen has always done a fine job extracting strong work from his actors, even if the material itself hasn't aged particularly well. Spacey and Cuba Gooding Jr. are quiet standouts, even if they're smaller parts. Spacey was even good enough here to win a pair of Best Supporting Actor awards for his troubles. Hoffman goes all in with his performance as Sam. He spends almost every single second of screen time aggressively telling his superiors and his peers that this virus is coming and has the potential to wipe humans off the face of the planet. Of course, if everyone listened, Outbreak would be about as long as this video review, but nobody listens and the plot of the movie progresses almost exactly as you would expect. This is a film that has parts that hold up and parts that most certainly do not. While I mentioned the good performances, the tone of the film changes drastically as the movie shifts into the back half. What starts off as this tight, lean thriller turns into your typical action movie race against the clock where every single thing must go right for the good guys to win and save the day. This is what films basically looked like in the 90s, and we were all about it. You've got the government conspiracies to keep everything quiet, the presidential cabinet meetings where they're discussing options and worst case scenarios and how to deal with panic. Outbreak was a pretty mediocre movie at the time, and all of these things kind of keep it as a mediocre movie now. I do want to spend just a few minutes talking about something important that the film does manage to do. You have these two characters that both want to do the right thing, but have vastly different ideas about how to resolve the impending crisis. Both have that sense of urgency they need when confronted with the scientific data, but neither are particularly good at communicating how we should get there. Sam paints an incredible picture of how many Americans feel right now about their government as he rants, raves, and pleads with his superiors to do something, to do anything. Contrast that with Robbie, who wants to quietly make a difference without stirring up any trouble. Both of these characters coincidentally tell us a little something about ourselves, and the movie does an adequate job of showing the destructive consequences of people in power failing to act quickly to resolve a crisis. Outbreak is a tale of two movies, with the front half being that taut, tight thriller, and the back half devolving into a messy pile of action movie tropes. COVID-19 certainly isn't the Mataba virus, but Outbreak still manages to provide a cautionary story about being lulled into complacency, and maybe that's something every single one of us needs to hear. Outbreak also just happens to be streaming on Netflix right now if you want to see it, so that's where I would go if you want to replace the coronavirus with Mataba in your brain for 2 hours. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you get alerts when I post new content. You can also like, share, or comment below, and I'll see you next time.